Midlife crisis. Dead end or new developmental stage. Psychological and physiological causes. Opportunities for reassessment and authentic growth. The so-called midlife crisis is one of the most misunderstood psychological phenomena. In popular culture, it is portrayed caricaturally. A man suddenly buys a red sports car, a woman changes her appearance overnight, someone leaves a stable life in search of lost youth. Behind these stereotypes, however, lies a far more complex psychological process, one that combines biological transitions, developmental milestones, unresolved internal conflicts, and a fundamental reassessment of identity. Midlife is not a moment but a developmental stage occurring roughly between ages 35 and 55. During this period, many people begin to confront the reality that their life is finite, that certain possibilities will not return, and that earlier life choices, sometimes made unconsciously, have shaped who they are today. This stage can trigger anxiety, frustration, impulsive decisions, and a sense of emptiness. Yet, paradoxically, it can also be a powerful catalyst for growth, authenticity, and a deeper understanding of one's own values. This analysis explores why midlife crisis occurs from both psychological and physiological perspectives, what internal mechanisms drive it, how past experiences influence its intensity, and what opportunities this stage opens up. Midlife crisis is not a dead end, it is a developmental threshold, one that, when understood correctly, can transform a life rather than destabilize it. 1. The developmental context of midlife. Human psychological development does not stop at adulthood, it unfolds in stages throughout life. Erik Erikson, one of the key thinkers in developmental psychology, without referencing specific studies, described midlife as the conflict between generativity and stagnation. Generativity means contributing to something beyond oneself, children, work, creativity, societal involvement. Stagnation is the feeling that life has stalled, that one's efforts lack meaning. In early adulthood, people build careers, form families, and strive for social stability. Decisions are often driven by external expectations, parents, society, peers. There is little time for self-reflection. Midlife is often the first moment when a person has enough distance and experience to ask, did I build the life I actually wanted? This question is not a symptom of pathology, it is a normal psychological milestone. But the answers it provokes may be uncomfortable. 2. Psychological causes of the midlife crisis. A midlife crisis arises from the convergence of several internal processes. Some are cognitive, some emotional, and others existential. 2.1. The collapse of life illusions. Every young person lives with a set of illusions. I still have time. I will become whoever I want. I can always change everything later. Life is endless enough to pursue all my dreams. Midlife confronts the individual with a different reality. Time is no longer infinite. The body changes. Some paths are no longer available. Certain talents peak at earlier ages. Choices made years ago now have consequences. This collapse of illusions is painful but also essential. It forces a person to recognize the real boundaries within which they must now shape their life. 2.2. A shift in identity. Who am I beyond my roles? Early adulthood is defined by roles. Parent, partner, professional, provider, responsible adult. Midlife is the moment when these roles no longer fully define the self. A person may have mastered them or become trapped by them. This triggers an identity shift. A need to rediscover the core self independent of work, status, gender expectations, and family duties. This may explain why some people seek novelty or drastic change, not because they want to escape, but because their old roles have become too narrow for a changing identity. 2.3. Repressed desires and unlived lives. Many midlife crises are rooted in what psychologists call the unlived life, aspirations that were suppressed in order to be responsible, loved, accepted, or secure. Examples. A man who studied engineering because his family valued stability, not creativity. A woman who devoted her entire life to motherhood but suppressed her own ambitions. A person who stayed in a marriage to avoid loneliness. Someone who chose a financially secure career instead of pursuing art. By midlife, these suppressed desires often resurface. They demand attention, prompting a reevaluation of priorities and sometimes impulsive attempts to reclaim lost dreams. The intensity of the crisis is directly related to how many compromises were made unconsciously earlier in life. 2.4. Fear of finitude and mortality awareness around midlife, people often experience the first significant encounters with mortality. Parents aging or death, health concerns, changes in physical stamina, awareness that youth is definitively over. This doesn't create a fear of death alone, it creates a fear of not having lived. The question shifts from how much time do I have to am I using my remaining time meaningfully? This existential anxiety can lead to constructive actions, or chaotic ones, if the person tries to avoid self-reflection. 3. Physiological causes of midlife crisis. Midlife is not just psychological, it is also biological. The brain and body undergo major transitions that influence mood, energy, decision-making, and emotional regulation. 3.1. Hormonal changes. Men and women both experience hormonal shifts. Men. Gradual decline in testosterone can reduce energy, libido, motivation, and confidence. Women. Perimenopause brings fluctuations in estrogen and progesterone, affecting mood, sleep, irritability, and stress tolerance. These physiological shifts can amplify emotional instability or heighten sensitivity to stress. 3.2. Neural reorganization and cognitive shifts. The brain changes around midlife. Prefrontal cortex efficiency shifts, processing speed may decline, emotional regulation systems become more sensitive, the reward system reacts differently to novelty. This can create a sense of restlessness or dissatisfaction that individuals may misinterpret as personal failure rather than normal neurobiological change. 3.3. Physical fatigue and body image changes. Changes in metabolism, sleep patterns, and physical appearance can undermine one's sense of vitality. This often leads to frustration with physical limitations. Comparison with younger people, desire to reclaim youthful energy without understanding the biological underpinnings. People may believe they are falling apart psychologically when, in fact, their body is signaling a natural developmental transition. 4. Behavioral dynamics and internal conflicts. The midlife crisis can manifest in multiple behavioral patterns. 4.1. Impulsive decisions. These decisions are often attempts to quickly alleviate discomfort. Drastic career changes, unexpected divorces, romantic affairs, financial risk-taking, sudden interest in youth-oriented hobbies. While sometimes portrayed negatively, these behaviors reflect deeper internal conflicts. I want to feel alive again. I want to matter. I didn't live for myself. I need freedom. Understanding the underlying motivations is critical. Impulsivity is a symptom, not the root cause. 4.2. Withdrawal and avoidance. Some people respond in the opposite way, shutting down emotionally. Loss of interest in hobbies, chronic fatigue, withdrawal from relationships, apathy at work, increased irritability. This is often a protective mechanism against an overwhelming inner conflict between realism and idealism. 4.3. Overcompensation. Others attempt to mask the inner turmoil with overworking, excessive exercise, perfectionistic behavior, competitiveness. These strategies temporarily create a sense of control but do not address the underlying issues. 5. The role of past experiences. The intensity of midlife crisis is heavily influenced by earlier life phases. 5.1. Unresolved childhood patterns. Examples. Those who grew up with pressure to succeed may feel panic if they haven't reached certain achievements. Those who learn to suppress emotions may struggle with new emotional turbulence. Those who lacked stable attachment may fear aging and abandonment more intensely. Midlife activates earlier emotional wounds that were never addressed. 5.2. Early adulthood compromises. Choices made at 20 often reflect survival, not identity. People may have chosen partners based on fear of loneliness, accepted jobs based on financial pressure, adopted values from parents without examination. Midlife exposes these compromises and demands that life be rebuilt with conscious intention. 5.3. Cultural expectations. Cultures with strong emphasis on success, youth, and productivity intensify midlife tension. Internalized societal expectations. By 40 I should have a house, a certain income, a family. Success often clash with reality. 6. Common misconceptions about midlife crisis. It means something is wrong with you. In reality, it is a universal developmental phase. Only weak or dissatisfied people experience it. Often, high achievers experience a stronger crisis because they have more to lose or reassess. The crisis is caused by aging alone. Aging is only a trigger, the core is psychological restructuring. The solution is to change everything dramatically. Impulsive change often leads to worse outcomes. Thoughtful reassessment is key. This crisis is a sign of regression. In fact, it may indicate readiness for deeper maturity and authenticity. The opportunities hidden in midlife crisis. Despite the discomfort, midlife can open paths to psychological transformation. 1. Reassessment of values. Midlife is the first time many people ask, what truly matters to me? What gives my life meaning? Who am I without external expectations? This reassessment often leads to abandoning superficial goals, redefining success, choosing quality over quantity, discarding outdated social roles. 2. Search for authenticity. Authenticity means living according to one's own internal values rather than external demands. Midlife encourages expressing long-suppressed desires, setting boundaries, reclaiming personal autonomy, pursuing genuine interests. This can lead to a more integrated identity. 3. Strengthening emotional intelligence. Dealing with internal conflicts teaches emotional awareness, acceptance of imperfection, compassion toward oneself, tolerance for uncertainty. These skills form the foundation of psychological maturity. 4. Restoration of psychological balance. Midlife is an opportunity to integrate previously neglected aspects of life. Reconnecting with creativity, cultivating meaningful relationships, investing in health, exploring spirituality, strengthening resilience. 5. Building a second life. Chapter. The crisis often leads to new careers, new hobbies, renewed intimacy in relationships, deeper friendships, a more peaceful self-concept. Many people report that life after 45-50 feels more grounded, meaningful, and free from unnecessary anxieties. 1. Cognitive and emotional tools. 1.1. Clarify values. Ask yourself, what mattered to me at 20? Does it still matter now? Which goals are mine, and which were imposed? What do I want to invest in for the next 20 years? Make a list of values and evaluate your daily life against them. 1.2. Recognize unrealistic expectations. Identify perfectionistic or external expectations that no longer fit. I must achieve X by age Y. Others expect me to be. I have no right to change course now. Challenge these beliefs. 1.3. Practice emotional awareness. Daily check-in. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? What do these emotions signal? This prevents impulsive decisions. 2. Behavioral tools. 2.1. Slow down major decisions. Adopt a rule. No major life changes made during emotional turbulence. Instead, write down your options, explore motivations, test the idea with small steps. Impulse relief and authentic desire are not the same. 2.2. Experiment gradually rather than radical shifts. Try new hobbies, part-time courses, small creative projects, traveling alone, rearranging your living space. These experiments help expand identity safely. 2.3. Rebuild physical foundations. Midlife demands consistent sleep routines, moderate exercise, stress reduction, realistic self-care. Physical well-being stabilizes psychological processes. 3. Relational tools. 3.1. Communicate transparently. Share what you are experiencing with trusted people. Partner, friend, mentor. Clear communication reduces relational tension. 3.2. Strengthen boundaries. Learn to say, I need time for myself. This is no longer serving me. I want to discuss our shared future. Healthy boundaries support authenticity. A midlife crisis is not a breakdown, but a developmental turning point. It serves as a bridge between the externally driven identity of early adulthood and the internally grounded identity of mature adulthood. Psychologically, it brings long-ignored desires and unconscious compromises to the surface. Physiologically, bodily changes reinforce this introspection. Ultimately, its essence is opportunity. It allows a person to redefine meaning and align life with genuine values, shed outdated expectations, and strengthen emotional maturity. Create a richer, more conscious second chapter of life. Midlife is not a dead end. It is the beginning of a new stage offering profound authenticity, grounded wisdom, and a life lived by choice, not inertia.